That's what a pair of Portland leather boots looks like after 1 year. Was Rose Anvil right when he did a review on these Portland leather boots? After watching his review, I said, those are exactly what I want. I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to tell you if I regret my experience. Let's get started. When Rose Anvil reviewed these boots, he was extremely hard on them. I'm going to go ahead and talk about that, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about what my experience has been wearing these. It is mid-October of 2024, and I took delivery of these last November, late in the month. I'm also going to explain why there's two pairs here. No, I didn't love them so much that I wore these out and bought a second pair just to have them sitting. I've had these sitting in my closet for months and months, and I will tell you a little bit about that here in a moment as well. First and foremost, I want to go ahead and clarify something. When Rose Anvil reviewed these Portland leather patina boots last year sometime, I vaguely remember most of his criticism being pointed towards the company and its marketing and verbiage, not so much about their boots. They wanted to call them heritage style. These are in no way are heritage style boots. These up here are heritage style boots. Stitched down, veg tanned leather, no foam, no fabric, hard wearing boots that take some time to break in, and you can do some legitimate work in them. Why did I end up with these when I really came from lesser quality versions of these? Well, the honest truth is I was looking to wear a pair of boots instead of a pair of tennis shoes. You see, I used to work outside primarily. Now I work in an office most of the time, but I also didn't want to just be wearing Nikes and Adidas all the time. I wanted a pair of boots, not for necessarily just style. I wanted to have leather. One of the things that drew me to these boots was the fact that there's like no liner in them. They have only leather. Let me correct that. They do have a liner, but that liner is an extremely thin bit of leather. If you want to see what these boots are assembled like, go ahead and check out Rose Anvil's video, and he cuts them apart. I'm not going to do that. As even the footbed, you're standing on leather. These boots have been worn for many hours under numerous types of tasks, not just office work. In fact, I wore them in the construction of this video that you can see on my channel. At that point, I already did have these Drews boots here, and one person even asked me, hey, why aren't you wearing your Drews? The truth of the matter is when I do small building projects around my homestead, I a lot of times just wear tennis shoes. Climbing around on studs, this is not the boots that I wanted to wear. They're great on ladders, but I just wanted to have an agile feeling like athletic shoes, and that's why I wore these. One of his main complaints was the sole. He said that the sole was extremely fragile. He picked at it with his fingernail, and I will tell you what, you can pick at this, but I didn't find that these were as soft as it looked like on his video. It looked like he just started scratching it and it started flaking off. I mean, I suppose I can do that, but again, if you've ever seen my ground here on this channel, well, in fact, I'll just show you real quick. This is what my ground is like here in rural Oklahoma. We actually just replaced a set of tires on the truck. They were worn out, but actually what happened is one of these rocks sliced through my tire. So if you want to know how they hold up in rough circumstances, there you go. A majority of the hours in these boots were not out on that surface. Up until recently, I was wearing them daily in the office, going to the grocery store, walking with my wife around the neighborhood, hiking on our trails. So it wasn't all work. It was a lot of leisure as well. So these spent plenty of time on my feet. They were also not cheap. I want to say that with a coupon and stuff, after tax and shipping and all that, I want to say they were close to $150. Now, some of you may gasp at $150 on a pair of boots. I kind of gasp when I have this heritage style boot here, and these can be had for less than 400, and these are rebuildable, and they're going to last a significantly longer time. Why did I buy these for $150? It's extremely simple. I wanted to get away from the synthetics in my athletic shoes. I actually transitioned to wool socks years and years ago, and I noticed that my foot health improved when I got rid of the synthetics, the plastics, the nylons, and all of that off of my foot or away from my foot. My feet don't stink. I don't get athlete's foot like I once did. And I wanted to take it a step further, and I didn't want to be standing on foam and plastic materials inside of my shoes. I wear these for long hours. When I saw that you could get a pair of boots, or a pair of shoes rather, I'm gonna say these are more like shoes to me. When I saw that you could get a pair of shoes that had minimal synthetics in them, meaning the inside of the boot is fully leather, okay? There is a little bit of foam underneath that thin pad of leather, but I figured, well, that's the best I can get right now. There was a little bit of breaking in required on these boots. They did hurt a little, to be honest with you. So I can say for sure that Rose Anvil was right. They're not heritage style boots. Do I like them? Would I buy them again? I actually love a lot about them, but there's a couple things that would keep me from buying them again. I don't prefer mock toe boots with this wedge style sole. I had another pair similar to these from Twisted X, and the sole wore out extremely quickly as well. I feel as if this would be very good with a foam wedge and like a rubber surface that you actually use as a wear surface, because this boot overall, the leather held up well. I did not do good conditioning it, and I have worn it while I'm working. They've had dust, dirt on the leather, and I may have wiped neat's foot oil on it one time in a year. The leather is very thin, but it held up very well. Pretty supple. It immediately did get a patina look. If you notice, these look, obviously they're brand new out of the box. This is really the first time I've had them out like this. But I mean, you scuff them. I mean, that's there now. I mean, if you put oil on it, kind of disappears. But these boots wear like that really fast. I've got to tell you the crazy story about how I ended up with 2 of these pairs of boots. I ordered this pair, like I said, to my door, tax, shipping, and everything, close to 150 bucks. I started wearing them, and a manufacturing flaw showed up extremely quickly. Let me show you. If you take a look, they've sewn this liner on the inside of the boot here to the outside leather. Well, what happened is during the production process, this seam is extremely close to the edge of the leather here. Okay, you can see right here. I hope you can see that, but this seam is literally right on the edge of the leather. Well, as I was putting the boot on one morning, and mind you, they were probably less than a week old, I went like this, shoved my foot in it, went like that, and the seam rolled out, and the liner was 100% detached from the leather of the boot. This is where I can give props to Portland Leather. I sent them an email telling them what I experienced. They profusely apologized. They offered me a full refund or another pair of boots be sent out immediately. They told me I could keep these, send them off to repair to a cobbler, or throw them in the trash. They didn't care what I did with them, but they sent me another pair of boots. Is the new pair of boots doomed to the same thing? Let's just take a look here. I want to say that there's more room between this seam and the exterior, the outside edge of that leather. There's room. There's room. On my initial look here, this gets a little bit thin on this one right here. Okay, but overall, this looks better. Let's take a look at the other boot. Now, mind you, I didn't have problems on both boots. I just had problems on one. Actually, that one looks like it's about to let go. I'll show you that here in a moment, too. All right, so what do we got? We've got an extremely close sewing seam to the edge again right here. Just a single stitch everywhere, but again, it's not too close to the edges with the exception of that one spot. This is the other boot that never failed me from Portland Leather. This one is pretty darn close. It's pretty darn close all the way around. But again, it never let go, so really it's not a problem because the rest of the boot, that seam outlasted the rest of the boot. There really is one major reason besides wear on the sole and cost. This didn't bother me so much because the company took care of it. Okay, I have another pair of boots here, and how I look at it at this point, this pair of boots cost me $75 and the other pair of boots cost me $75. Okay, so I am not critical of them on that. But what I am critical about, and it's always bothered me, is these eyelets. These eyelets, if you notice here, that sucker's bent out. Okay, that happened almost immediately. You'll notice that this one's smashed in, this one's smashed out, and then furthermore, you'll notice that, gosh dang it, it looks like it's about to come out. In fact, look at that. It's about to pull through the leather. They were very, very loose like this from the get-go, okay? They're also extremely thin gauge metal here. And I found myself, honestly, this is going to sound crazy. I was in my office chair. I moved my feet, and every so often my boot would get caught on, I don't know if it was the other boot or the chair or my pant leg on my other leg or whatever, but I'd feel it catch, and that son of a gun would get yanked like that. I was able to go ahead and mash them back in, but I've become afraid of doing that. Like, if I keep doing it, is it going to just break off? So I would say that that is a major quality flaw. Absolutely, where they cheaped out where they shouldn't have. I feel like these boots overall are actually not a bad pair of boots. They're relatively comfortable. I think the upper lasted pretty well considering my neglect, the way that I've used them, the amount of hours they've been on my foot. I have long days. I don't wear my boots for 8 hours or 12 hours. They're often on my feet for 15, 16 hours a day. So these have been around the block. I feel like overall they did okay, but there is some major issues that they need to resolve quality wise. You'll see that what I did is instead of throwing these away or sending them to a cobbler, I took a needle and thread and I just basically sewed through that myself. I sat down at the table. I got these for my birthday. Okay, my wife said, hey, you need a pair of boots. I wanted to get something a little nicer. And I went ahead and bought these. And so it's kind of a bummer, you know, to have that rip out right away. But then I sure as heck went ahead and pushed a needle through there, sewed that up, kept that liner in, and kept going. So was Rose Anvil wrong about his assessment of the Portland Leather Patina boots? I honestly think that his assessment was a little bit harsh because it mostly dealt with the marketing, not so much the boot. Now, he also did address that these weren't work boots because of the thickness of the leather and so forth. If you've been on any job site, at least here in Oklahoma and in the Midwest area in the South, you'll see tennis shoes everywhere. I'm okay with the leather not being the same thickness of leather on these. This is something I wear when I'm running a chainsaw, when I'm climbing a tree with my gaffs. If I were going to go ahead and climb poles again for a living, this is not what I would wear. But in terms of if this sole was a little bit more sturdy and these eyelets were better, I would have no problem doing mini light type, you know, low voltage electrical work, plumbing, stuff like that. You don't need a crazy durable bit of footwear. So was his assessment wrong? No, these boots were not. I really wouldn't consider these boots a work boot. I use any pair of footwear for work quite often because what happens, I go outside, see something that needs to get done, next thing I know, I'm in a project. Would I buy them again? Probably not. And it has nothing to do against the brand, their marketing, or anything like that. They do like to call them like a heritage style boot. That's absolutely not true. But The main reason is those couple of quality issues just bothered me. The eyelets is really the biggest thing. They were just too thin. So what am I going to do with these? I actually just got rid of all the wrap. I put it in the trash with oil and dirt in it. I shouldn't have done that. I wasn't thinking. I'm thinking about just putting these up for sale for a good price on Facebook Marketplace. Just to, you know, I don't know if I want this same pair of boots again, or I might just wear them. I honestly might just go ahead and wear them because they'll look decent at the office again. And then save these for when I want to do something around the property or in the shop. You know, do my best not to file chains in this, or, you know, string trim in them or something like that. I might just keep them since I already own them, but I wouldn't mind having a better quality boot realistically. Tell me, is there any brands that are similar to these that have a full leather liner, not a lot of padding inside? I don't want pad. I don't want foam and big thick bits of foam. I don't need that. But is there any brand that would be like this with potentially a rubber sole? You know, cobblers are well worth their money, but I don't think this boot is worth sending to a cobbler because I'm not in love with it. I'm not in love with the style per se, but it would be really cool if this could get resold. And again, this is not technically a rebuildable boot, but if this could get resold with something, or even this pair of boots right here, like this be ground off and them put like a 1/4 inch thick piece of rubber instead of this, because this is going to disappear in a hurry. I don't like that. I don't like how they look. When they start doing this, they start looking like a boat. You can see it wears like, or they look like a banana, not a boat. Maybe both, a banana and a boat. Banana boat. Anyway, these will kind of get worn and do that sort of thing. So I really would prefer that not happening. I'm not a review channel. I'm a man that just gets stuff done on my rural Oklahoma homestead. If you're new here and you like a variety of content, lots of things dealing with equipment, tree cutting, firewood, chainsaws, mechanical things, I'm not an expert at really anything, but what I can tell you is we have a good time here. Give the channel a thumbs up, subscribe, let me know you're here in the comment section, and I'll see you on the next one. I have got to see how much weight these have lost since I've owned them. The right foot is 1 pound, 0.4 ounces. Let's see what this one is. This is the brand new boot. No packing material. 1 pound, 1.1 ounces. Now let's do the left foot. Again, the right foot, 1 pound, 0.3 ounces that time. Left foot, 1 pound, 1 ounce. Let's see if this one's the same as the other. 1.1 pound, 0.9 ounces. 1 pound, 1 ounce. Interesting. This is not real stitched down or I think what, Goodyear welted. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's not right. It's just a piece of leather that they've adhered and made look like it's there. I want to say Rose Anvil was concerned about it peeling off. Mine didn't peel off. They're well glued. Glues are pretty amazing nowadays, everybody. But as you can see, my foot kind of squished down in it and that edge disappeared. It kind of just looked like a rolled up wad of nothing now.